Oh my goodness. I was just talking. Thank you so much. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Ilana. Thank you so much. Because, yeah, Tamika, thank you. I would have just sat here this whole time. That's how much of a live rookie I am. Okay. You want to talk about big decisions? I made the big decision that I'm going to go live every week. So that way I can help people make big decisions every single week. And here I am. Don't know how to use my technology. But I'm showing up. I'm showing up because I have realized that making big decisions has been an absolute game changer in my life. Yes, Priscilla, has been an absolute game changer in my life. I've accomplished a whole bunch of stuff. Stopped going to school pretty much after fourth grade consistently, but went on to get a doctorate. Was a Green Beret. I was in the FBI. Uh, Entrepreneur, sold a business, helped tons of entrepreneurs. But lots of people look at my background and they say, oh man, that dude must have tons of discipline. I think my niece is on watching the gram right now. She'll let you know I did not get there through iron discipline. I got there by making big decisions. And so I'm here to help you all make big decisions. To let you know that today, right now, sitting where you are, you could make the biggest decision of your life. Isn't that crazy? You could right now, and nobody could know it. You're just sitting in front of your computer or sitting on your phone, and you could make a life altering decision. People sleep on decisions. There's no action that you can take in one single action in one single day that's just going to set your life on a course, on a different course forever. Nah. But decisions, though, you can make a decision that completely transforms your entire life sitting there in silence. Sitting there, your body is doing nothing but thinking, and you can make a decision that alters the course of your life. I'm so curious. I'm curious. I would love to know in the chat, what's the first big decision that you made in your life? Like you made, right? So many of us don't have the opportunity to make decisions for ourselves until we're what? Choosing where we're going to go to college, what kind of job we're going to get, maybe what kind of car, what's our first job, right? But what's the first big decision that you made in your life? If you could toss it in the chat, and then I got to go to my Instagram screen so I can see what they're saying up in the gram. Uh, okay, toss it in the chat, and there's a bit of a delay. What is the first big decision you made in your life? You don't have to give all the details to the world, but was it school, job? Was it a relationship? What was the first big decision that you made in your life? See, and imagine if you had made a different decision. If it was going to school, if it was getting a job, if it was starting a relationship, if it was ending a relationship, imagine if you had made a different decision, how different would your life be? I made a big decision that I wanted to go to USC before I got there, and I met my wife there, right? These decisions that we make have life altering consequences. But we spend so little time thinking about how do we make decisions better? How do we make decisions better? I developed a three-step process that I call the Complete Decision Protocol, CDP. Okay. Yes. Hey, Trixie Ann. Okay. To go to college, that was a big decision for you, right? And so if you had made a different decision about where to go to college, or say, you know what, I'm actually not going to go to college. I'm just going to jump straight into the workforce. Or, right, imagine how much different your life would be. I made my first big decision when I was in the fourth grade, and it's because my parents basically handed me the power to make that decision. My ooh, to live a better life than my parents. Yes, I feel that. I feel that. Um, so I made a big decision to not be enrolled in school. My parents handed me the ability to just say, you can choose when you want to be enrolled in school, starting when I was in 4th grade. That's bonkers. That was my life, and so it's made me, um, choosing to stick to dance as a child and then choosing to stop for sports in high school. Oh my goodness. Somebody else watching, that's so awesome, Priscilla. I did not know that. And my niece, who I think is still watching on Instagram Live, just declared her dance major at Cal State Channel Islands. Shout out Mahala. Um, so these decisions that we make, she was going to be a psych major. And then she said, you know what? That's not in my heart. I'm gonna go into dance, right? Okay, very early, yes, deciding that I was gonna live differently than my parents, and that was an early decision. So most of us are not making big decisions until we are older. We're actually being taught to not make big decisions when we're younger. Think about it. Even the smallest decisions. Think about school, okay? Now you're in preschool or kindergarten, right? You're in kindergarten and you are out at recess and you're having so much fun on the monkey bars, and then you want to keep playing on the monkey bars. You want to keep playing tag. You want to keep running around, but hey, everybody's got to line up and go inside, right? Or maybe you were inside and you're jamming, you're doing art, you're reading, or you're writing, exploring something inside. Hey, everybody's going out to recess, right? So when you are at your most impulsive in life, when you are a young child and you're at your most impulsive in life, saying, hey, no, actually do what everybody else is doing. Check these boxes instead. So we are robbed of the authority and of the ability and of the responsibility to make decisions for ourselves until we get to, yeah, a lot of folks, college, uh, some folks are making decisions at a younger age that have life-altering consequences. But as a result, we don't think about how to make decisions very intentionally. But because I was exposed to the consequences of not making my own decisions, I think about decisions a lot, and it's made me realize that you're always in a position to make a big life-altering decision. So I want to talk a little bit about what influences that process. Before this, I reached out to folks and I said, hey, I'm going live on Wednesday because that's what I do on Wednesdays at lunchtime Pacific. I go live to talk about big decisions. What might you want me to address? And I have three questions here that I got from folks that I'm going to address, but almost all of them come down to these right here. These, let me get my follow on. Follow. All right. Come down to what I call the decision monsters. If you were here with me last week, then you got introduced to these monsters. Uh, these are the monsters that keep us from following step one of the complete decision protocol, which is deciding with heart. Deciding with heart is the most important way to decide. Okay. Why make a decision for your life or for your work, for your team, for your company that's not going to light you up? Why? Why make a decision? Why set a big goal that is not going to light you up if you achieve it? So here are the reasons why we don't do it. It's one of these three monsters. Guaranteed. One of these three monsters is keeping you from making a big, fulfilling decision that's going to illuminate the path in front of you and lead you to a fulfilling life. So our first friend here, I'm gonna call him a friend because he's trying to be helpful, is the feasibility monster. Feasibility is a nerdy word, okay? I chose feasibility instead of impossibility or whatever because this monster is nerdy. This monster is like charts and graphs, rulers, measuring tapes, data, saying, hey, don't make that big decision. Don't set that big goal because it's impossible. It's impossible to achieve. And Feasibility Monster doesn't want you to feel let down. Feasibility Monster doesn't want you to feel disappointed. And so that's why Feasibility Monster is like, "Hey, sounds cool. It would be so cool if you chose that thing. It would be so cool, but it's just not possible." And that's like this Feasibility Monster pops up on our shoulder and just starts whispering almost the second that you get an idea. Almost the second. Like, "Oh my gosh, I really like I really like dance. Maybe I'm supposed to stick with dance." It's like, "Really? You gonna be able to are you gonna be able to dance your whole life? Are you gonna be able to make money that way? Are you gonna be able to?" And then the second you wanna switch to sports, it's like, "Really? Are you sure? Do you know what that's gonna take? Do you know, hey, that sport, that's you're gonna be running 2-a-day practices. You don't have time for that. You don't have the energy for that." Right? So Feasibility Monster pops up as soon as we get an idea for something, and it's like, "Hey, let's be realistic. Let's be practical here. Chill out. Tone it down." The second monster is the Worthiness Monster. Worthiness Monster says, "Yeah, this is supposed to be a mirror, by the way. I need to work on my graphic design skills. This is supposed to be a mirror." So Worthiness Monster pops up and shows you a a mirror of yourself and says, "You know what? This is possible. Yeah, sure. It's possible for you to do this. I mean, it's possible for somebody to do it, but it's not possible for you. You're not the kind of person that achieves that kind of thing. You're just not. Look at you. Look at yourself in the mirror. You're just not that person." Right? So this Worthiness Monster is one of the most painful voices to overcome in your head. It's saying that no, actually, you just don't deserve it. You don't deserve to want what you want. And I'm speaking about this very personally, but companies and teams do the exact same thing. Companies and teams will say, "You know what? I uh we're we're just not equipped for that. Our people are not that smart. We're not we're not the kind of company that sets those goals, that has those aspirations. Other companies can do that, but not us. Other teams can do that, but not us." This Worthiness Monster pops up not just for individuals, but it pops up for teams. So does feasibility, right? And then you get that Feasibility Monster whispering in someone's ear in a room, and then they open their mouth and let the Feasibility Monster talk. They open their mouth and they let that Worthiness Monster steer the conversation and say, "Hey, we're just not the kind of team that accomplishes these kinds of things." So, and that's in the goal setting. That's in making decisions about what you're gonna do, where you're gonna go in life, in business, in your team. That Worthiness Monster. And it's there to protect you from falling. But it's not useful when you are setting big aspirations. And that third and final monster, woo, boy, we all know this one. Don't we know this one? The social monster. This is the one that pops up. It's all these emojis. It sits on your shoulder, and it's just like, ooh, if you want that, huh, what are people gonna think of you? What are people gonna think if they find out that this is what you're trying to do with your life? What are people gonna think if people find out that this is what you're trying to do as a leader? What are they gonna think? And so this monster sits on our shoulder and it whispers all of our fears about what people are going to think of us. What are people gonna think if you try and you fail? Are people gonna think that you're a failure? People are gonna call you a failure behind your back. They won't say it to your face, but they're gonna call you a failure. What are people gonna think if you try for this and you succeed? Are people gonna call you a sellout because you made that money that you wanted to make or you did the thing and now people are gonna judge you, right? So these three monsters, they work together, they pop up and they work together to keep you doubting yourself. So that way, you'll just take a little bit of the ambition off of the thing that you really want. So many people think they can't find what they're passionate about, feel like they don't have any passions. But really, they're not giving themselves the chance to have passions, to explore, to find passions, not giving themselves the chance because in order to find your passions, you got to listen to your heart. And you cannot hear your heart if you can't hear your heart if these monsters are crowding it out. So you think, "Oh man, I don't know what I want." You do know what you want. Your heart knows what you want, but it's just under all the messages of what you want is actually not possible. You don't deserve what you want, or what are people going to say if you want this thing? So I'm gonna get to addressing these questions. I'll give a brief overview of of the three steps, and then I want to address these questions because actually the majority of those questions are decision monster questions. Before I do that, I wanna actually let's zoom in on these monsters and let's just see like which one of these is the loudest for you when you are trying to make a big decision or when you're trying to even execute on a big decision. Which one of these is the loudest? Is it feasibility? Is it worthiness? Or is it social? I'm so curious which one is the loudest monster for you. So go ahead and put it in the chat. Is it feasibility? Is it worthiness? Is it social? You can even just put an F, a W, or an S. Ooh, the delay is killing me. Um, okay, so while you're putting that in the chat, I am going to move on to these three steps. And this is not going to be a deep dive into the three steps. I'm going to explain it just enough so that way I can answer these questions. Okay. So let me make sure that I'm charging my iPad. Yes, I am. All right. Okay. So here are the three steps. Stopped following me. We've got one worthiness monster. We've got one feasibility. Yep. Yeah, that feasibility. Woo, and worthiness, both of them. Both of them. They just pop up. And again, feasibility, analyzing, yes, over analyzing the heck out of everything. Worthiness, yes. That's interesting. That social, it's funny. I was on with one of my one-on-one coaching clients yesterday, and this person was saying that it's not social in the beginning. For me, it's feasibility in the beginning. And then once I start going and I start executing on it, then it becomes social. That's the monster that gets the loudest for me is social when I start to execute. Because now you can actually tell that I've made the decision. You can actually tell that I want the thing. So I think it changes at different times, even sometimes different times of the day. Me and my son, we're both like, when we get sleepy, it's just like the world gets to be a really sad place. So even when different times in the day can impact how that shows up. Oh my goodness. Sumi. Sumi's in the house on that on the gram. What up? What up? Okay. So back to back to the decisions. I mean, back to the three-step process. So, step one, create your big decision. Decide with heart. Decide with heart. It's got to be a 10 out of 10 on the fulfillment scale. It's got to 100% light you up. So, to show you what a big decision looks like, this is like my life guiding. This is the decision that is guiding my life for the next couple of years. I'll let you see it. I'm going to read it out loud. By the end of 2027, I will establish myself globally as the big decisions guy by releasing a best-selling, awesome book, a top podcast, and hitting high-profile stages to earn top fees as a speaker, coach, and facilitator while helping millions of diverse execs and entrepreneurs for free or cheap with life-changing content, working 4 days per week, traveling less than 10 days per month so I can maintain my health to be the best husband, an amazing father, and a valued family member and friend. I look at this thing every day. Every day. You'll notice that it's color coded. These are different kind of areas of my life, different criteria that I have to satisfy. Right now, you all are helping me satisfy this one. I'm out here spreading my life's work about making big decisions and how life-changing it can be. Going live right now, which takes courage because I'm just like talking to a bunch of screens and lights, but I'm doing it because I know that there are real people. You're on the other side of that, and that's what I want. I want to impact millions. So I feel so lucky to be able to share this message with you here. And it's not an accident. An accident. Okay, so this is my big. Now let's go back over. So, okay, step one, make the big decision. Step two, identify the requirements. That's why we don't want to listen to the feasibility monster too early. By the way, this statement looks crazy. It looks wild. It's by design. It is part of the definition of a big decision is that it sounds like a toddler's run-on sentence. And when I'm working with individuals one-on-one, I help them craft their big decision. And then we break it all the way down, create a roadmap. Same thing happens with teams. I just facilitated a retreat in Phoenix, Arizona, a couple weeks ago, a month ago. We did this for a team, crafting the big decision. Sounds like a big run-on sentence, but guess what? When everybody on the team looks at it, they're like, yeah, hell yeah, that's what we want to do. You know how hard it is to get a team aligned and saying, hell yeah? But when you do it in this way, it can happen in 90 minutes. Say, oh yeah, that's why we exist. That's why we show up to work. That's why we're doing what we do. And I'm 100% committed to it. That's the kind of thing that establishing a big decision for yourself or for your team, that's what it does. Okay, so you'll notice that my stuff globally, establishing myself globally, that's crazy. You know how big the globe is? The globe is big. And I'm saying I'm going to establish myself globally as the big decisions guy. But guess what? I live in Panama City. Panama, not the spring break Florida place. I'm doing it. In March, I'm speaking at this incredible event called Festival of the Diaspora in Puerto Rico. Guess where Puerto Rico is? On the globe. Okay, so I am making small decisions that support my big decision. So, step two is identifying the requirements. What must be done? Must be done. Must be done in order to make this big decision real. What must be done? See, for me, this experience right now that you are helping me to facilitate must be done. I have got to get out and change people's lives for free or cheap if I'm gonna do this. If I'm gonna do my life's work, I have to do this. It is not an option. So I have to overcome my nerves. I have to overcome the technology and the whatever to do it. Okay? So identify the requirements. And then we jump over the can, should, could trap. This is where all that stuff, this is basically the product of the feasibility monster, the worthiness monster, and the social monster whispering in your ear. People say, well, other companies, we should do this because other companies are doing it. I should do this because my mom really wants me to have this job or this manager. I should. Doesn't light us up. Not absolutely required to fulfill our big decision, but we spend time and energy on this stuff, getting stuck here in the busy trap on cans. Holy smokes, who cares what you can do? Do you wanna do it? Who cares what you can do? Do you need to do it? See, we only wanna be thinking in terms of want and need. Do you wanna do it? No. If not, do you need to do it? If it's not one of those 2 things, don't do it. Simple as that. So we jump over this busy trap right here, which is where so many people spend their time. So many people spend their time here and, "Oh, well, I can, so I guess I'll start this blah, blah, blah. I should because parents want me to, or my team wants me to, my spouse wants me to." That's a tough one. And could is like can, but with conditions. It's just like, well, I could if. No, what do you do? And then we jump over that, over all this busy stuff, and we go over to game changers. What are the things that if you were to accomplish these things, it would damn near guarantee that your big decision became a reality? So now once you have this and you look at, once you have this, then you can go back and you can say, you know what? I can do this. I can make this big decision a reality. So for me, I have these high level requirements and game changers. One of my game changers is to be on Diary of a CEO. My game changers is to be on Mel Robbins' podcast. One of my game changers is to be on Oprah Super Soul Sunday. Right? So like those are game changers. That happens and it gives me a significant advantage in making my big decision a reality. Right? And I have my requirements over here. Being the best husband. I know what that means. My wife, she wants to feel pursued, she wants to be respected, and she wants to be treated like a partner. Those are the 3 things that I gotta do. Those are the 3 buckets that I gotta fill. Those are the 3 requirements for making sure that I'm the best husband to her, right? So, once you do this, you can say, "All right, I've got my requirements, I've got my game changers." If there is something on here that you have determined, like, is a requirement for your big decision and you don't wanna do it, then now you have to go back and change your big decision. If you're saying, "Hey, this is required, and I can't think of a way to accomplish this big decision without it," all right, tough. Now you gotta go back and change your big decision. You either need to get a better imagination about what's required, you gotta go talk to somebody who can tell you what's required, or you gotta change your big decision. But at least then you've thought it through. See, most people are changing decision, they're changing their goal before they even freaking thought it through. They change it when they get the idea. "Hey, what if I was gonna do this kind of job? What if I was gonna go back to school to blah, blah, blah? What if I was gonna start a business? What about" as soon as you get the idea, letting these well-intentioned but incredibly harmful monsters pop into your head and say, don't want what you want. You don't deserve to want what you want. You can't achieve what you want. Or what are people going to say about what you want? So, for those of you who put it in the chat, we got 2 for worthiness and 2 for feasibility. Um, it's not about eliminating these monsters. It's about recognizing what are the things. It's about recognizing when they are speaking to you. Because if you can identify the phrases that they say, then you can say, "Oh, cool. I'm not gonna pay attention to that right now. Thank you, feasibility monster, for trying to make it so that I don't fail, but I'm actually not gonna listen to you right now. I'm gonna listen to my heart. I'm gonna ask myself what would truly light me up, and that's how I'm gonna make this decision." Okay, so into the Q&A. I would love to also answer additional questions. Um, so if you have a question, feel free to toss it in the chat. I'm bouncing back and forth between the gram and do people still call it the gram? Am I dating myself by calling it the gram? Is it okay to just call it the gram? Um, okay, so I'm gonna answer these questions. So somebody who I spoke with this week before was like, "How do I know if I know? How do I know if I know what I want? How do I know if it is time to make a big decision?" So let's go back to these 3 right here. How much of you not knowing whether it's time to make a big decision, or how much of you not knowing what it is that you want is based on stuff that the feasibility monster might say. Don't make that big change. There's no way you can do that before you've actually even freaking wanted it for a day. Just let yourself decide for a day before you let that feasibility monster creep in. What happens if you think about this thing that maybe you want to make a decision on? Listen for the worthiness monster. Does the worthiness monster say you're lucky to have what you have? Why would you make a decision that takes you away from the thing that you have? Why would you make a decision that changes what we got going? You're lucky to have what you have. If you think about this thing that you want and you try to listen for this guy, you try to listen for the social monster. How much of it, when you think about what you want, is the social monster saying, "Hey, don't do that. People are going to think you are stupid." We spend so much money, we spend so much time, so much energy worrying about what other people think. It's so important to care about what other people think. It is very important, right? Most of us wanna move through the world with respect and spreading love and joy, so we need to care what people think, right? We need to understand if we're hurting people's feelings. We need to understand if we're maybe not helping people when we're in a position to help people, so we need to care about other people, we need to think about other people, but do I need to care what people think about the kinda car that I drive, the house that I live in, the job that I have, the size of my company? I definitely don't need to care what people think about those things. So if you are, like, struggling to understand, how do I know what I'm supposed to decide. Just listen for these 3 monsters. And if they're popping up, then just what happens when you silence them? What does your heart say? What happens when you say, "What would be a 10 out of 10 for me?" Without getting into the, "Oh, yeah, but what if the bad thing happens?" That's a feasibility monster talking, right? What if they don't want you? What if whatever. Worthiness. What if they talk trash? Social. So how do you know if you know what you want? Listen to those, listen and see. Is it those monsters talking or is it your heart talking? Okay, so I got another question. How do I position myself to move up? These 3 steps. You know what? I would love to know which of these steps, step 1, step 2, or step 3, do you feel like you're best at? Are you best at deciding big? Are you best at identifying requirements? Or are you best at identifying game changers? Those game changing strategies, those game changing things that are going to that make big things happen. So the reason why it's called the complete decision protocol is because you need to have all 3. But most of us gravitate towards one area or the other. So where do you feel most drawn? Are you like the requirements person who likes to like, well, if we're gonna do that, then we gotta do this first, and we gotta do this before that, and we gotta do this before that, and we gotta do this before that? Are you the game changing person who's like, oh, you know what would knock it out of the park? Or are you the big decision person that's like, that's where we're going. I'm going over there. Step 1, big decision. Step 2, step 3. I'd love to know. So, how do you position yourself to move up? First, you have to decide where you wanna go. Make a big decision. Are you a manager and you're saying, "I wanna be a director"? Are you a director and you're saying, "I wanna be a VP"? Are you a VP and you wanna be an executive? You wanna start your own thing? So, first, it's about making a big decision. 10 out of 10, what does it really mean? And making sure that those monsters aren't whispering in your ear. You just want more money, but you don't wanna manage people? Do you wanna make more influence in the company? Like, the first step is deciding, like, what do you actually want? Step 2, get into those requirements. Okay, what is required in order for me to move up? One requirement might be, well, there's gotta be an open role, and I'm at a company where there's not an open role for me to move up. If that's the case, then a requirement might be going to a different company, applying for a different job. A game changer might be saying, "Hey, I'm going to blow the doors off and create the role. I'm gonna propose that my company creates the role that meets my big decision." So do you see here and say, all right, well, requirement is there's got to be an open role. There are no open roles. So now I have to go to a different company. Or you look at let's let's just decide that we're going to do this game changer of creating a role. Okay, so everything comes back down to these 3 things. What is actually required to move up? And most people get stuck here. "Uh, I've been here for this amount of time. They should promote me." Should? What? What does should have to do with anything? Why should they? They should because you've been there for a long time, because if you were at another company, then you would have been promoted already because should? What? What's required for you to get that promotion? What would damn near guarantee? Change it. What would damn near guarantee that you got that promotion? Do those things. Do those. So I know it. It sounds crazy simple, but that is literally it. And oftentimes when people feel like they're passed up or they're not getting promoted, or the career is not progressing, they're ignoring the requirements. What is required? And it's not, I mean, most companies don't make it super clear as to what's required to move up. That's the tricky thing. So it means that you have to take some agency for yourself and make some decisions for yourself about what's required. But also, if you have this big decision right now, you can go and you can talk to your supervisor. You can get mentors. You can talk to mentors about what it's going to take, right, to identify the requirements. So, big decision. What does moving up mean? What do you want? Step 2, identify the requirements. Step 3, bet on some game changers. All right. Another question that I got. Third and final question. So if you've got a question, let it rip. Like right now. Um, okay. Third and final question. How do I know if my plan is solid? Woo. Will somebody please will somebody please answer this? Is there anybody that can answer this in the chat? There's a delay. But I feel like now I'm giving you the information that you need. Oh, cool. We got a question from Trixie Ann. Is having a timeline essential? Yes. Short answer, I'm going to say yes. And I'll get to that in just a second. It's a perfect question because we're talking about solid plan. So I'm going to give like 5 more seconds for somebody to answer this. No, okay. So a solid plan has identified requirements and game changers. A crappy plan has lots of this stuff in it. A crappy plan is chock full of cans and shoulds and coulds. So an amazing plan has requirements. Oh, yes, that's clutch too. Tamika says, is what your heart truly wants. Yeah, think about it. You could have an amazingly laid out plan, but if it delivers a thing that you don't really want, it doesn't matter how good the plan is. It doesn't matter if you're winning the game if you hate the game. So yes, Tamika, spot on. Your heart has got to be in it. And the cool thing is, if your heart's super in it, then it makes the path forward so clear. Again, I've known about LinkedIn Live and, the importance of showing up and providing value for people, but I haven't done it. I've known for years. Now that I look at this decision every single day, I'm like, "Oh, I have to do this. I have to show up. If I'm gonna make the impact that I wanna make in the world, I have to." Right? And so having a plan that is based on what your heart truly wants, yeah, the requirements become clear and your motivation goes way up. Okay? So, requirements and game changers. So now let me get to Trixie Ann's question about is having a timeline essential? Yeah, having a timeline is super essential. Um, and the cool thing is, so what I do with individual clients and with teams is we come up with this list of requirements and game changers, and I'm not gonna nerd you out too hard right now, but, like, we basically can do this process over and over again at lower levels. So the requirements, if a requirement becomes apply for a different job, right, at a different company, well, now I figure out what the requirements and game changes are for that. So again, we're just running the same 3 steps all the way down to, like, building project management, essentially, okay? So, but once we come up with, let's say we've got this list of requirements over here. This is, requirement number 1, requirement number 2, requirement number 3, requirement number 4. And we've got these game changers over here. I'm gonna letter them so that way, uh, we don't get confused. And then what we do is we just toss those in whatever timeline you want. So, a lot of people already thinking about 2026. Good for you. We've got 4 quarters. Actually, that is how the year feels, isn't it? Like, the back half of the year is shorter than the front half of the year. Um, so, to 2027, and now we can map these requirements and game changers, we can slot them into the timeline. So I chose a year-long timeline with quarters, but you can do this on any timeline, right? So then it might mean that, hey, we've gotta do game changer C. We've gotta do game changer C in quarter number 1, and, uh, we've gotta do B and D in quarter number 2, and then we've gotta do A in quarter number 4. Similarly, we can say, all right, we're gonna have to do requirement requirement number 2 here, requirement number 1 here, requirement number 4 here, and requirement number 3 here. And you just keep breaking it down smaller and smaller. So yes, timeline essential. Timeline is essential, especially for teams, because yeah, having a clear decision. Like, honestly, if you're on a team and you have a big decision that is that clear and that motivates everybody to get out of bed and go give it everything that they have at work, that is better than 90% of the teams out there. Most teams don't do that. They might set goals, but they're probably vague, realistic, uninspiring goals, and nobody can even remember. And when people read, they're just like, ugh, gross. That just sounds intimidating. It doesn't sound exciting. It's either boring or intimidating, but it doesn't motivate, right? So if you just do that, you're doing better than 90% of the teams out there. Okay. Then if you actually are like, hey, not only are we deciding what's going to make the difference, not only are we deciding on what's the requirements, I think about requirements because I live internationally now. I think about it like your passport. Packing to go on vacation with a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old is crazy. I want to bring unicorn floaties and snorkels and all this stuff, right? For them, that's a requirement. You got to bring these things. But no, you could even thinking about a vacation, booking excursions and booking flights and booking hotel and all this stuff, bringing the dress that matches the shoes and the right. If you do all that stuff and you don't, and you show up at the airport without your passport, you are not going. The passport is a no joke requirement, right? So like, but people skip this. It boggles my mind. People will skip over the things that are required, thinking about those things, and go straight to like, well, we can bring our snorkel. We can go on vacation over there. But guess what? You could actually show up at the airport with a passport and a ticket and a credit card and still go on vacation. No bags. You could do it. It's possible. You cannot show up with your bags fully packed, all of the tickets booked, all of the plans made and reservations, bells and whistles. With no passport, you're not going. So it's like, what are those issues in your work or in your life that are absolute requirements? You might as well not even pack your bags. You might as well not do anything else if you don't have your passport. So yeah, you do this, you're way ahead of the game. You do this and this, you're way ahead of the game. Because now it means like I'm not going to fail. You do this and this, now you're crushing it because this gives you the opportunity to win spectacularly. I don't have a solid idea of what it is going to be required to be on these big podcasts and to hit these stages. I don't have a solid idea of what is required. I'm on a mission right now to find out. But I know what my requirements are at a bare minimum to make my decision a reality. So I truly appreciate you all joining me. And I'm stumbling through technology now. So this right here is a QR code. If you click on this QR code, it's going to take you to a page with a video of this guy. And you can, if you like, apply for a free strategy session with me. And I'll tell you that if you apply, if you click on apply, there is a robust application questionnaire that just talks about where you are, how you make decisions, how satisfied are you with different areas of your life. And that in and of itself has had people hitting me up like, "Oh my gosh, I had an epiphany filling out that application." An epiphany filling out the application. So there's value in just going through that. So if you follow that QR code, it will take you to a page where you can apply for a free strategy session with me. Now, if uh, if I accept your application and we hop onto a call, we're going to go through and we are going to you're going to get a strategy session. It's going to be dope. And if there's a good fit, then I will invite you to be a one-on-one coaching client. I'm gonna be here every Wednesday. Okay. So I want to work with people who are fired up and who are ready to make big decisions and to create ironclad plans to move forward and who want a thought partner and accountability partner that is going to help them level up, help them listen to their heart, help them identify the requirements and the game changers for getting the life and the work that they truly want. I want to, heck yeah, I want to work with those folks. It's not always the right fit. But regardless, I'm gonna keep showing up here every Wednesday. So if you got value here, know that I'll be here for you next Wednesday. Maybe some of you choose to apply. But if not, I'll see you on them LinkedIn streets. See you on the gram. Thank you all so much for joining me. Decide big.